Check this out. I am here in my Windows, and as you can see, I've got this PowerShell command in my terminal. Also, if I show you my Defender, you can see it is running properly. Now, as soon as I press enter here in my terminal and wait for just a few seconds, nothing happens here apparently. We are getting nothing in response. Nothing malicious appears to be happening. But if I check my Discord server here, and in this channel, you can see we've got this zip file. Now this zip file has our cookies from all the browsers, even browsers with app-bound encryption. And if you don't know about app-bound encryption, I'm going to tell it to you in just a moment. But before that, press that subscribe button real quick. Okay, so we've got all the cookies just with a single PowerShell command in our terminal. And you might know what hackers can do with these cookies, right? Well, if you don't know, let me show you a little demo of it, and then we're going to go into how I actually managed to do that. So, I've opened these cookies here in my notepad, and let's say we've got this Instagram cookie here. If I copy the value from here, and now open a new private window and open Instagram in it. As you can see, we are required to log in, but we don't have any kind of credentials, so we'll just open our developer tools. We'll go to the application tab, then we'll go to cookies and edit any cookie here with these values. Now close the developer tools and refresh the window one more time, and here, as you can see, we're logged in as this user. We've got complete access to this account without even needing any credentials, and it even bypasses multi-factor authentication. Okay, so now if I dissect that obfuscated PowerShell command, it is what it looks like. First we download these Python files from our GitHub, then we run them using Python, and then we delete the file. But what exactly are these files? So I've opened it right here in my Visual Studio Code, and this is what it looks like. Again, it is completely obfuscated, but I've got a readable version too. We're basically using two different techniques here to grab cookies. Grabbing cookies from the browser with app-bound encryption is a bit harder than from the browser without app-bound encryption. If you don't know about app-bound encryption, it is like a security feature that Google introduced in Chrome, in which the encryption key is bound with the application, so it's kind of hard to decrypt the cookies. Well, the project I use to decrypt cookies is this one. This project is the Python version of Zilox's Chromalvator project I once showed you in a video. It helps us extract cookies from Chrome and Edge because they've got app-bound encryption, and for the other browsers like Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi, we've got this Browser Cookie 3 Python module. So this module is specifically written for this, just to extract the cookies from the browser for the browsers like Brave, Opera, and Vivaldi. It is just a few lines of code to extract plain text cookies in just a matter of seconds. You can install this module using pip, and here I've got a small snippet to show you how it works. You can see we've imported this Browser Cookie 3 module here, and then we've got a few more lines of code to extract and print all the cookies from Brave. We can also do Opera here, or maybe Vivaldi, but it doesn't work with Chrome or Edge because, as I've already mentioned, it's due to app-bound encryption. Now, if we take a look at our main code once again, by the way, you can get this project easily. It has very easy installation instructions given on the GitHub. I'll put the link in the description. It works quite similar to the Zilox project. It has a DLL wrapped in base 64, which is injected into the memory to extract the app-bound keys and decrypt the cookies. But as you can see, all the other code is what we get at the compilation time of that project, but in our main function, we've done some changes to integrate the browser cookie module and extract the cookies from the other browsers. Here we've created a new folder first, then we grab the cookies from the browsers with app-bound encryption, which includes two main ones so far. First is Chrome, and the other one is Edge. We grab cookies from them by launching a suspended process and injecting that DLL in. This process doesn't require any kind of elevated privileges, and literally a normal user can grab cookies from these browsers. But next we've got a list of browsers without app-bound encryption. We grab cookies from them one by one here and put them in the cookies folder as well. Lastly, we zip up the cookies folder and use our Discord webhook to send the whole zip file to our Discord server and also delete the created zip file. We could also do this process right in the memory, but it's fine, right? We're just doing this here for the explanation. One honorable mention, this browser cookie module requires admin privileges, which means we have to run the script with admin rights, and it has a very simple reason for it. The reason is that it doesn't close our browsers while extracting the cookies. If we wanted it to run without admin privileges, it was possible too, but it would have shut the browser down before extracting the cookies because cookies files are mostly locked when the browsers are running. so the admin privileges are necessary. Also, killing browser processes makes it a bit loud and easily flagged by EDR. Okay, so now there can be multiple ways a hacker can trick you into running a malicious PowerShell command in your terminal. The first and the easiest one is by a click fix attack. If you don't know about a click fix attack, this is an attack in which you see a fake CAPTCHA, often made by hackers with instructions to get access to the website or whatever resources they promised. The instructions usually include opening a run dialog by pressing Windows plus R on the keyboard, then Control plus V to paste the command, and then simply press enter. Though it never solves the CAPTCHA, but it gives the hacker access to your computer either by putting some kind of stealer on your PC or maybe like a backdoor. This was one of the most famous ones. The other ones could be like calling you and pretending to be tech support, claiming there is a virus on your computer, and then making you run a command in your terminal to fix the issues. But most of the time it is social engineering and people fall for it. Well, there is no patch for human stupidity. That's all I have for you in this video. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to press that subscribe button. Also make sure to like this video, and also make sure to check out the first link in the description. We offer some courses to support the channel, so make sure to have a look if you want to support the channel. That's all. Until we meet next time, happy hacking.